gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
This is the Early Bird Special, right here in the second hour of this Tuesday, 19th day of August. Are we acknowledging him today? I think we are.
The shoeless.
Oh my God, every time. I
love
need
it, man.
this Shula Fala to get like 5 shoes deep. I need like the Jordan 1s to the Jordan 8s all the way down, brother. Like I need all of it. I really do. We got our boy 24KG in the building. I'm sorry, my friend. What were you saying? We couldn't hear you very well on that one.
We just need a couple more pairs of Jordans around that to make it a little bit more expensive.
Dude, could you imagine?
You know
like he gets every
Heyman,
Jordan he owns.
Heyman, obviously we know how great he is on the mic, but every week it just seems like he's coming prepared with some new throw-in on against the OTC.
Telling you, dude.
I love it, man.
I said it last week. I stand on it. This entire story is not only boostering Bronson Reed into main event status, but it's going to do the exact same thing for LA Knight.
Almost definitely, man. You know, what you're seeing right here is that, that next call-up, that next generation of guys who will be running Raw, Smackdown, and the PLEs in the future. You know, we've already seen how established Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns have been over the years. So to see some trusted guys, oh, man. Woo! Get the opportunity to get on TV, it's refreshing because you know how it used to be. It was those start and stop pushes under the previous regime, but to see one almost fully, or a couple actually in certain cases, become fleshed out is kind of relieving to see as a fan because we know how these things can go.
I honestly loved what I saw throughout Raw last night. Let's talk about a handful of the stories that have actually been building from this. Let's start with the one that we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks because we all kind of saw it coming, but they waited until yesterday to break the news, even though they had already released a whole hour-and-a-half long interview with Naomi and Jimmy last week that I sat through just to see if there was any news. There's none. There was none in that one. No.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
They planted it with a 15-minute excerpt from, I assume, a completely different interview.
Yeah.
That happened after the news came out that Naomi is pregnant. She'll be walking away from wrestling for at least the next 9 months, obviously, to go through the pregnancy, and is vacating the title, leaving it wide open for anybody. First and foremost, how do we feel about Naomi vacating the title? I applaud her and congratulations to her and Jimmy Uso for obviously the great news, but it comes at such a rough time, right?
You know,
she was just catching fire with fans.
If you've ever had a kid, that's how it goes.
I know, and she just got the custom title belt, dude. They just got that like caution tape wrapped around it finally. It looked great. And of course, like you just said, God has his own plan and just threw a monkey wrench in there for you that now you have to wait 9 months to actually have this title reign. How do you feel about it, my friend?
Look, that ain't God's plan. That's two consenting adults having fun at the peak of their careers, smacking unprotected. And, hey, that's what happens when you married. You can do that. You can just say, hey, man, careers is great. We've been doing this a while, but congratulations first.
As she said, you can thank wine for this, I guess.
Yeah, no. Big Jim. And the wine.
Yeah, Big Jim and the wine.
I mean?
Well, she's killing it, man.
That was one of the best parts of the promo last night, how she came out. You could tell she was a little overwhelmed by the love and the ovation from the fans that have been watching her career progress to this part. You know, this is the third time she's relinquished the title and just released it to the authoritarian person who was in the ring this time. I really like how she told Adam Pearce this time, I'm not giving you nothing. Put in the S word for nothing. It was great TV. Then she got a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more honest about, could none of y'all heifers take me out? It took basically Mother Nature to take me out.
That was pretty great.
Hey, great work. Great work on all that. Most definitely, though, I would like to say at the cost of where her career is peaking, I think she can get it back. Because honestly, We've seen her leave before. Well, relinquish the title before due to injury. Another one due to controversy. And this one, I really feel like it was the first time. Well, she's always earned every aspect of what she's gotten in her career as a superior athlete, great performer, great ambassador for the brand. But this one is different for the simple fact that we've seen this before, but yet the angles that they're working off of it, especially with Becky Lynch's tweet.
That was wild.
How irresponsible is it to get pregnant as champion? That was the exact thing she did in 2023 with 2022, whatever it was, which I thought was great to further a jump-off point when she comes back, or anybody who they can tie in for that aspect that either takes the title or comments on the situation all the way around. Congratulations. Great segment on Raw. And, they milked the hell out of this for a good 2 weeks now just to promote Stephanie McMahon's podcast. It's like WWE is taking over the podcast, syndicate on YouTube for the simple fact that they have so many doing so well that this could have ended up on Cody's. This could have ended up on Undertaker's. This could have ended up on, but it ended up on Stephanie's. Rightfully so, because it's a more comfortable delivery process on that product. But overall,
it's a different feel on Stephanie's podcast too.
Definitely,
right?
Definitely a more softer, intimate, digestible, welcoming family kind of feel with her show. So I see why they put it on there. Overall, though, hey, TV time is TV time, and if that's what you're going to take it up with before our PLE, thanks.
I mean, again, I'm not against this. This again is. I believe God's plan. This happens regardless of if she was on fire or not. I think that
they had talked about it previously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've been talking about this for months because that's been the rumor from what we understood is that she wanted to have one last title run and then start a family with Jimmy and then see how things go after that. I think that I agree with you. I think she comes back with an even bigger pop when she does have the baby and have the maternity section of all of this and heal from it. But this is going to be like a year or two down the line, obviously. We're headed into Clash of Paris. This entire championship is up in the air. The only one that we know for sure that's going to get a shot at this is Stephanie Vaquer because she was already promised a shot at this. Who's the one that's going to be taking her on to get the belt?
Well, that's the question right there. You know, WWE has no problem with deferring to tournaments or gauntlet matches.
But you don't have a lot of time to do that.
Sure don't.
The gauntlet match would make more sense.
Well, they started up a little bit last night with, the EO and Rhea and Asuka now, which I would love to see all four of them in a match. Asuka with Rhea and EO.
And Stephanie.
And Stephanie would be a great match.
And Stephanie and Asuka have a previous history as well, having worked together a little bit. I think it would work out really, really well if you did have a four-way. We have a men's four-way. Why not have a women's?
Definitely. And then also the thing you want to keep your eye on is WWE is quick to defer to solid people that they can put a strap on, a title on, a championship on, and move around accordingly and pivot with such short time. You might see Rhea Ripley just reacquire this title just based on the simple fact that people say, oh, she's got new tattoos. She's got new tattoos. She's getting the title back.
She had no business looking that good last night.
Nonetheless, before we continue, Naomi did a great job in this character arc that she's had recently, starting off as a heel, a very despised heel for the breakup of, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, that organically got over and beloved as a face very quickly, just based on her character work. So when she returns, you can expect a very congratulatory pop to see her back. I
cannot believe that the proceed with caution thing worked.
Hey.
Even Stephanie said in her podcast, she's like, I honestly was skeptical. I didn't think it was going to work, but it works.
It was the laugh,
totally
man.
happened.
She killed that laugh.
Yeah.
That laugh
Big Jim said that's a real laugh. That is a real maniacal. When she gets upset, he was like, I've been with my wife for about 10 years now. When I hear that laugh, I just know, hey, get low. Just seeing their personalities exuberate outside of the ring is very good television, man.
Well, keeping it in the women's division, I mean, what is next with this crap that they're doing, Bailey? And how can she mix that in?
Schizo,
You know, I would figure that this would tie into the Wyatt somehow based on the production style, based on how it was presented. I was very confused. Nonetheless, I understand the psychology of the promo. You know, she's doubting herself. She's going crazy. It was very schizophrenic behavior, which is unsettling in real life. To see on TV was, okay, well, how are you guys going to send this character into this spiral arc where she's literally spiraling out of control in her mind? And what are we going to see in the ring therefore? It's not the 90s anymore. So when you do things like this, I hate to sound like, we were talking about the previous segment, but proceed with caution, literally, because these things can either go all the way up with a rocket or crash and burn. So hopefully whatever they're doing with Bayley, and as a trusted performer that she is, I'm pretty sure they're going to deliver something that makes sense on either her re-debut, emergence, or leading to her final crash out that gives us this new unhinged Bayley.
I would love to say that this has something to do with the Wyatt Six, but the fact that they're on separate shows leads me to believe this is going to be two separate stories. Yeah. I do think they're going to ride this whole, I guess you could call it schizophrenia storyline. The like somebody in her own head talking to her.
Multiple personality thing. Something.
I would love to see this turn into some sort of Jekyll and Hyde thing for her.
That'd be great.
Like it, when she's crazed out, whacked out, you see the vicious Bayley, and then when she's normal, you see the fan Bayley that everybody loves, and the hugger and all that type of stuff. But if that is so the case, you need to create some sort of wicked character that's a complete opposite than what we're used to. Because if you don't go full into this, I think, Kimble, you were you were leading to this, but if they don't go full bore into this and make it some sort of creepy Halloween-esque thing, horror-esque thing, you risk potentially upsetting some people, saying you're either making light of or taking something that's very serious and trying to make it, profitable.
Exactly.
And I don't think that's going to work out in their favor at all.
Most definitely. Another thing before we hop out of the women's division that I was very disappointed in is that they still don't pull the switch with Natty.
Now, hold on, though, because I agree with you in sense on WWE programming. She has been vacant. But if you watch Triple Mania over the weekend,
that's exactly what I'm getting to. Natalya versus Natty, the low-key legend, all they got to do, and this was the perfect match to do it in. She didn't have to actually beat Becky. She could have just snapped on Becky, basically becoming disqualified. This is honestly my expectation was she goes in, she puts on a technical masterpiece with Becky, right? Back and forth, sells and all that other stuff. But she just goes too far because of how Becky's been acting. Gets disqualified. This sets up a great Clash in Paris match where by hook or by crook, Becky will still wiggle out with the title. But we see this aggression switch in Natalya that gives us that low-key legend that she's doing on the indies and in different promotions that literally has kicked the crap out of everybody that she's been in the ring with. I'm talking real tough girl, what 100%. Ronda Rousey should have been packaged as, but just more complete because of Natalya's experience. I love this character arc that she's doing. I need to see that on WWE television.
Oh, it's a fantastic thing that they're allowing her to do, because if you've been following her in Bloodsport or in Triple A, really, she's absolutely the dominant force that everybody knows her to be behind the scenes.
Definitely. Creatively.
Yeah, and creatively. Super. She just whoops everybody. But again, she fell short in Triple Mania, which was unfortunate. But I feel like that's on purpose. I feel like they do her like that on WWE television just so they can give her time off on TV to do it on every other,
definitely
platform. Because if you have her as the dominant Natty on WWE TV, well, now she has to be on every show. Now she has to be at the center of every Monday Night Raw. She can't.
And fans know it.
So you have to allow them to be able to have that time away from the shows to be able to dominate in other ways. That's
also her and her husband are pretty busy producing behind the scenes. Yeah. Her Tyson Kidd, they write a crap ton of matches and programming for WWE. It's also good for them. Something I want to bring up before we skate off to the next subject. Ilja Dragunov has been cleared for in-ring competition Where do you think they insert this guy at in the storylines going forward on Raw or SmackDown, gentlemen?
Unfortunately, he's going to probably just be thrown in there with Sheamus and Rusev and then just told, hey, just do your best, because at this point, he's left out. Like, it's unless you're going to reignite Imperium and put him, Ludwig Kaiser, and Gunther together, I don't see that happening, though, because now it seems like we're going to get a whole El Grande Americano faction.
Which is crazy.
Which is wild. Also, as I told Sparky yesterday, that means we're probably going to get a woman at some point in an El Grande Americano setup.
Ivy now, most definitely. The El Grandes.
That would be fantastic. But no, I think that this entire thing is just... It's unfortunate, but he may end up going the route of guys like Karrion Kross here and just be phased out after a while. Because, I mean, we've seen it kind of with Carmelo Hayes. When Miz went off to go shoot American Gladiator, they did
2 seasons.
Yeah, 2 seasons of it at the same time.
Whoa, man.
They did nothing with him, though.
It was just brought him back at the same point in the storyline where they left off at, right. Which was... I get it, but it was still like they could have done a lot with Melo in that time. It's been, 5 months?
Melo, Austin Theory, Ilja Dragunov, all these really young, like, great talents are potentially going to be just sucked up into the ether here pretty soon because we don't have any time or stories for them. Everybody else is taking it over.
Maybe they can pan out in the next Triple Mania or like Omos.
Otis?
I don't know where Omos or Otis.
Otis killed it.
Otis,
dude.
Triple Mania. If for those that didn't know, this weekend they did the best numbers they've ever done under the WWE leadership for a pay-per-view that was simulcast on YouTube as well. So it's free to check out. Make sure you guys go see that and take in some different aspects of the Lucha Libre superstar culture that WWE is now fusing and putting out with. But it was great to see Omos, even in that aspect, like as you were talking about Austin Theory and Ilja. Now with all the things that they've got, you might just have to catch them on different programming.
That's kind of the thing. That's why I think they're buying up other programming shows and potentially TNA next, so they have places for these guys to go. Because the roster is so stacked, you really have nowhere to put them.
It's like a beer, just, hey, stop. When you tell the bartender to stop and they're like, stop, and they keep going, it's starting to run over. The cup is a little full right now. We've seen this before in WWE in previous years, but they just didn't have the outlets that they do now to present their products on.
How do you feel about Omos walking away with essentially his first singles title in that Triple Mania show?
Well,
because technically it's his first WWE singles title. He won something.
What can I say? I didn't see his tag title reign in the New Japan aspect of when he was working over there. This was before any of these affiliates were becoming assimilated into WWE. I'd have to say cool, awesome. What are we going to do with it as far as AAA programming? Exactly. We know that. But I'm not going to go too deep into it. Visually, I think it was a great look for AAA and their pay-per-view, because that was the last person I expected. There was a couple people that I did not expect in their version of their Royal Rumble to make an appearance, which was also great. And the Mr. Iguana and Finn Balor puppet match was insane. That thing's going for $100 online right now.
Yeah, Demonito you can buy on all WWE shop websites right now for $100.
Yeah, that was
fantastic. Lot. You cannot sit there and tell me. And you know what's funny? We got a Demonito before we got an Iguana. They still haven't put that up on the shop, I don't think.
I think they got to work out some legalities about that.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But again, let's move on a little bit to what else we saw in this building up to Clash at Paris, because we are just a couple weeks away. The main event of this Raw yesterday in Philadelphia lived up to the ECW moniker, in my opinion. Jey Uso against Braun Breaker, two of wrestling family's finest, to be honest with you. And Braun kept taking some gnarly chair shots from Jey. Like, Jey put him through the ringer. I think Jey really took this as an opportunity to set himself apart as a wrestler and show everybody that he's not just the, and I hate to use this as a term, but it's kind of the only thing I can compare it to, but the John Cena-esque wrestler, the five different move wrestler.
His homage to New Jack in his appearance last night was very ECW.
He's trying to set himself apart and put him back into the main event picture, because I fear that Jay is kind of falling off in that area right now. I've heard
too much yeet.
Well, not even just that, but I've heard a lot of people say that Jay, even though he is a now main eventer and a champion in that area, it's a fleeting thing. It's not going to be long. Like, it's one of I heard Bubba Ray say it verbatim, was like, he's not going to be a champion again. Like, it was a one-time thing kind of a thing.
I think there's truth to that aspect, but also because he's been overexposed.
Yes.
He has been utilized so much and oversaturated on the product so much with the run it backs and the continuous, chance for the doubling up of his interest music, just so the crowd can get a moment. These moments, these visual, captivating, viral, streaming, viewing moments still don't add to what's being put down in the ring. They've literally, as we've seen in the documentary, wondered about his conditioning leading up to this, basically putting the blinders on him and running him like a horse. Okay. Now, when it starts to slow up or people lose interest at the time, and even now, it seems like they pushed it even more. Only now, I feel like, with what they've been developing with the vision, can we kind of see that, he gave us some great matches before Seth Rollins' alleged injury. That Rollins-Uso match that they had on Raw was great. It showed us a different style showcase and range in Jey Uso's arsenal. But not only that, it gave us some insight to, okay, this guy can evolve in real time on television with us. But when you're oversaturating and when you're over-delivering a product, hey, you can only eat so many double cheeseburgers before you get tired of double cheeseburgers. And I think we're having yeet fatigue in a small fashion that could bleed out in a bad way, such as Bubba Ray said.
And I think you just hit it with the oversaturation. I think that's just what it is. I think that
and I love Jey Uso.
I've read the Bubba Ray stuff. I've heard multiple wrestlers, even with the behind the scenes Untold and all these, they all kind of mentioned the same thing, where they were, they warned him about, the fatigue and working out and this and that. And while it seemed like while he was working on his mic skills, which we saw improve, it seemed to lack more in the ring.
Yeah, you got to be a lot of places when WWE puts you in a position of privilege, from meet and greets to radio shows. Well, you don't even have to be a champion to be on that type of rugged schedule. Look at Jacob Fatu. As soon as he relinquished that U.S. title, it seems like he's been more press runs and show appearances than ever before, which kind of lets you know that they're getting the people more familiar with who they're going to put in positions of prominence for our next potential television season or title changes that are upcoming after our current PLE that we have scheduled in Paris. So I just I really love what Jey Uso has done in his character growth over the last year and some change, but we can kind of take our foot off the gas on that. I feel like if WWE wants to preserve, keyword wants to, because they will squeeze every dollar out of what they can get. And we know that and we still condone the product and how it's delivered to us because we're that embedded into the legacy of WWE in all the years we've watched it. So when you see this, you kind of know what's coming, and they'll revisit it if they still find more life in it, much like LA Knight. LA Knight was on fire and they didn't pull the trigger with him once. It's crazy how we got Jey Uso to win a world title before LA Knight. And he had the initial momentum starting before Jey Uso's run. So we'll see how this turns out. Hopefully it doesn't end with Jey Uso on Superstars.
No, I doubt that. But I mean, again, we're talking about a guy who's 39.
See, I got Sparky right there with that one.
Maybe he should co-host it with CM Punk, because I'm sick of that guy too.
Well, again,
yeah.
I
feel like the more rare a superstar appears, with the bigger they are, there's more value in that appearance. You see how they're doing with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And that's not just entirely based on schedule. That's because it's Roman Reigns.
Well, and the fact that he goes through leukemia treatments and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
But
Treat everybody like that, though. But not everybody is Roman Reigns.
No, but he's also one of the biggest draws when it comes to kids.
Exactly.
So you can't let him have that time off. You know what I mean? It's the Cody effect.
Exactly. It's very rare to see superstars shoot themselves into that stratosphere of being an attraction, a draw. How they say, thank you for the house. These guys bring the house.
Yeah. Now there's a reason why Jay's on one show and Cody's on the other. The WWE has two major kid-friendly wrestlers right now, and that's Jay and Cody. Those are the two biggest ones. If you threw them out into a kid's or a kid's party or whatever, every kid would be going absolutely nuts.
Either with a whoa or
a yeet. It doesn't matter. Like, they speak to kids more than anybody. And like you just said, you have to sell the house out. That means pulling in families. That means pulling in kids. That means pulling in their dad's wallets. So,
did you guys see how many Cody fans were there knowing that Cody wasn't even on the show last night?
Right.
He's not on Raw.
No.
You still see the merch everywhere.
Yeah, and that's my point, is that you really can't give him that time off, right? So he's essentially forced to go and work out and do all of this stuff and catch up to everybody. But unfortunately, I feel like he kind of gets overlooked because of how much star power is on this dang show. I mean, his cousin comes back for one night, and everybody forgets he's even in the championship. Everyone assumed Braun Breaker was going to take him out in this match last night, so his cousin, Roman, could come in and be that fourth man at Clash at Paris, essentially making him the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
So
we've seen that
essentially
before.
where fan bases and everybody kind of have him, and that's a little disrespectful, don't you think?
Oh, lightweight, yeah. Lightweight, definitely, because people forget he has a winning record over Braun Breaker.
Oh, of course.
With their whole IC title clash and previous things and whatnot. But because they built Braun Breaker to be so strong, he can take a loss like this and you still aren't fazed by his presence because he's that guy that will deliver. He will, as Paul Heyman said, make you remember why you should fear the spear.
Oh, absolutely. Real quick, with our last minute, what are your predictions for Friday Night SmackDown? Do you think the Wyatt Six are going to be crashing down on a lot of these people as we saw in promos throughout Friday Night SmackDown last week?
Well, I think that how it was set up to be, we're not going to see a short Wyatt title reign. We're actually going to see this stretch out for a while as they
I think they're going to start picking out some championships here from people.
Yeah.
I think Julia's in trouble. I think Solo's in trouble.
Yeah, because we're not doing anything with that women's U.S. title right now.
And you saw Nikki Cross kind of peering over the shoulders last week. I think there's a good chance we finally see Nikki in a ring again.
You also see the MFTs worried about what's looming in the background with their opportunities against other contenders and whatnot. So I think we're going to see a lengthy title run with these Wyatts, and maybe that U.S. title ends up on Uncle Howdy.
That's exactly what I said. And can you imagine Tala Tonga against Eric Rowan?
Whoa!
Two of the largest men in the WWE going at each other is going to be just
let them cook.
cinema.
Hey, you might as well just throw Omos in there, just
for fun. Just for fun.
Just for fun.
And then Otis in the middle, so we have a bowling ball too.
There we go.
All right, let's get out of here, sir. Thank you so much for your time. As always, we really appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week.
Most definitely, you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. We are live on YouTube.
Just a reminder, Raw will be at noon next Monday.
Oh, that's right. They're back out in the European countries. But again, I'm not going to complain. I actually get to watch it. That's during my lunch. That's during my lunch hour. So, all right. KG, once again, thank you, my friend. Appreciate your time.
You guys, take care.
We got to take a break, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield.
Peace.